Hello, it's Dr. Reiter. I have Dr. Farris here with me. She's our newest vet here that came to Bentley Animal Hospital just recently in the last 3 weeks. So she's going to do a little bit of talking also tonight. We're going to talk about storm phobias, and we're going to talk about firework phobias. Also talk about microchipping. So that's what's on schedule for tonight, and that's where we have our nice flag for Flag Day. So we're excited, but Dr. Farris is going to go over our microchipping, the ins and outs of why we do it, and things that you guys can do and may not even know about on how to make your pet even more safe with it. So take it away, Dr. Farris.
Yeah, hi everybody. It's been great to meet you guys that have come to the clinic so far, and if not, I look forward to meeting you soon. So this being Microchip Awareness Month, it's very important that you guys are up to date on the most modern ways on how to keep up with your microchip. So by just simply having your pet microchip, you greatly increase the chance of being able to find them if they ever get lost. However, there's other steps to it. So it's very important that we know where your microchip is registered to. So if you got your animal from a different breeder or someone else who had owned it, it all depends on who the microchip is registered to. And it's very important that it's registered to you as the owner, because whenever the microchip gets scanned, the number that's associated with that account is who they'll call. So if it's the person from before or a different veterinary clinic or a different breeder or anything like that, that's the number that they'll call instead of you when your pet gets lost. So it's really important then that you can check your microchip number and see if it's associated with your account information. And that's really easy to do. You can just go to the website, the Home Again website, and enter in their microchip number with all that, and it'll tell you kind of the steps to go through that, as well as keeping up with the annual membership fees with the microchip, because if you don't keep up with those, they don't keep track of the accounts. So it's really important that we stay up to date with all the information related to the microchip. So just having the microchip is a great step, but not enough to always make sure that your animal can be returned to you in the event that it gets lost. And always know if you ever find a lost animal to take them to a veterinary clinic or animal shelter, and they can scan the animal to look for any microchips. I remember all the key steps.
This is our the way we apply it. It comes in like a 14 gauge needle. There's a small chip in there about the size of a grain of rice, and that literally that number is then specifically for that dog, and that's what the scanner picks up. So as the scanner goes, and I'll kind of show you how this works, but this is the scanners we use, and it'll tell me it's scanning. It goes across it, and then you can see a number comes up, and that number is the one we give to the Home Again, which is who we use. There's different manufacturers, but we just tend to use those. But they will call the number that the person that's registered to that number. But so off that a little bit, if anybody has any questions, they can call our office about that too. 636-225-4545 is our number. So another thing I'm going to talk about basically are storm phobias, fireworks phobias. So I guess the first thing to understand, what is a phobia? Basically, it's an irrational response to a noxious stimuli. That's basically the definition of it. So the question is why do they react that way? So it's the same as people. We have fear of snakes, but we're not so irrational at that response. We want to be fearful of them, of course, but we don't want to have that response where they're tearing up the house or soiling in the house, hurting themselves. Some of them will fall off a deck, or fall down the stairs trying to get somewhere. So that's basically what the phobia is. Now, storm phobias and fireworks phobias are not the same. So loud noises and storms are not associated with ones. We have some, like dogs we have that have separation anxiety. 90% of those dogs that have separation anxiety has some kind of other phobia. So whether that be storms or whether that be noises, right? So like fireworks. But I'm trying to think of some numbers here. So dogs that have noise stimulus to fireworks, only 75% of them have actually storm phobias, and 90% of storm phobias have noise phobias. So it doesn't matter what. The biggest thing for us as doctors is we have to walk it through you, find out what they're actually, do they have one, do they have both, and what are they doing? What does your pet do? Most of these are dogs, of course. So are they hiding in a certain place? And they usually go to these places because they're called safe houses. They're safe havens. They feel safe in those areas. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about on desensitization and how to handle it or help control it. You never cure it, as you'll find out. Basically, you're trying to minimize the stress on your animal. So What else? Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything about identification. No. So we'll talk about how do we help the animal. So the first thing we're going to talk about is just a desensitization. So basically what that means is they make CDs that have storms, the sounds of storms on them. And what you're trying to do is mimic that. And you start it out at a very low sound and you slowly bring that up higher and higher. Just the noise gets louder and louder. Hunting dog people do the same thing. If they got a dog that has a hunting dog that has a noise phobia to a shotgun or whatever, they'll take them a half mile away and shoot that gun, and that dog will get closer and closer and closer, until they try to break that phobia. This takes a lot of time, guys. This is not a one-time deal. So desensitization takes a lot of work, and that's what makes it hard for people, because we all know we don't have a lot of time because we're busy. So counter conditioning is another way that we talk about helping out with these phobias. And basically what that means is you're playing these noises, but you're giving them food, or you're doing fun things with them. You're trying to get them to focus on you and what you're doing is a fun thing, and not actually the sound or the storm itself coming in, whatever the sound may be. So another thing is called relax training. So now there's some people that think, well, I should not comfort my dog and make my dog happy whenever it's having a bad behavior as it's responding to this phobia. But they actually say it's a good thing. If your dog is less stressful because you're petting it and you're sitting there with it in its safe zone, right? So if you're doing that and it makes the dog feel better, what's it going to hurt? So most of us recommend go ahead and do that. So you use a combination of these three things, the desensitization, the counter conditioning, and the relax training. You use those three things together. Now the fourth thing is drugs, and we do have anti-anxiety drugs. The most of the common one we use it here is alprazolam. So we start them on a low amount and we'll increase it. So some people ask us, well, what if the storm's already there? What if the storm is already in and we couldn't catch it on radar, we didn't know it was coming? Can we still give it? Yes. They say go ahead and give a mild amount. So which is where we start anyway. We start on the bottom and we communicate with the client. If we start your dog on a medication, usually I'll use alprazolam, and we'll call you after a couple weeks, or the owners will call and say, hey, it helped, but I'd like a little bit more. Okay, that's fine. That's called communication, and that's what we do here. You got to communicate with your veterinarian on how your animal responds to the medication, because there's other kinds of medications. There's fluoxetine, there's which is Prozac. We use that, Clomicalm. We also, like I said, use alprazolam. So there's multiple different products, guys. So if one doesn't work, why not use another one? And they have combination, where we can use a couple of them together. But the alprazolam I find works pretty well with my clients. I used to use just a sedative. I've kind of gotten away from that. That was old school, and I'm trying to change as I get older. So other things. So basically, to finalize on it, the biggest thing to make you guys understand, you're not going to cure it. All you're going to do is help your animal, and that's the goal. That's what we're looking for. So, and it is going to be frustrating, because it's going to take a lot of, you're doing these desensitization things, trying to stay away from medications. A lot of times it takes both, but I can tell you most people just go to drugs because their life is busy and that's what they do. So it's okay with that, but you got to communicate with us when that happens. Is there any questions that you guys have? Please go ahead and type them in. Let me know. I'll try to answer them. If I can't answer them, I'll answer them later on. I don't know all the answers, but I can find them for you. So.
There's none yet.
Okay. And if you guys know the storms are coming, that's another thing that you can do, is just know what's available. Also, just these safe places they talk about. So you can also, they make doggy earmuffs. There's things online you can buy. They even have glasses, for lightning and things. So there's a lot of things out there that you can look for to actually get them to those areas where they don't hear the noises as much. But I think barometric pressure plays a lot in what that's how a dog knows it's coming before you know it's coming. They can feel the drop in pressure, which we can't, because we're human. So those kind of things also, if you know it's coming, you're going to work, put those animals in those areas where they're not going to tear your house up. Maybe farther away from the outside walls where they can't see the, outside the windows even, or they can't hear it as much. So those type of things. So. If we don't have any questions, I'll see you guys in about 4 weeks. If you have any things you guys want us to talk about, yourselves, you can send them in. So we can do it that way also. But we try to pick just things that are, it's Flag Day and, Pet Month for microchipping, so that's why we went over that. But also storms and the fireworks season is coming on, so we figured we'd go over that with you. So have a great day. Shoot your fireworks, but have fun.